Hospital Porter's pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to Panmo TV. Well, this is the latest and I think most detailed of my explorations into public artworks, murals and graffiti and other things like that. And as you know, if I put links in the description box to the other times that I've covered this particular subject. And I suppose some of you might wonder, as indeed you would have done if you'd watched the previous incarnations of this particular series, why are you bothering with this bed? I think I do try to explain it as well as I can, and I'll try to again. But first of all, let's have a look at some of the things I've discovered. Donington Bridge here in Oxford, and I'm just going to show you some of the public art. It's a beautiful spot, this, on the River Isis, or the Thames as most other people call it. The first thing I want to show you is, this is quite new graffiti that appeared maybe 2 weeks ago or so. What we have here is some text which looks like Russian, or something in the Cyrillic script. Languages, I know not Russian uses the Cyrillic script, I know Serbo-Croatian does as well, and things like that. Well, that uses two scripts or something. So we also have some more Cyrillic or Russian text there. Looks like the same thing actually, as you see up here. I think, yeah, very similar. But it's lovely, isn't it? It's lovely. Well, the way it's done is really, really clever. Colours in between, like the silvery black colours. It's got that 3D image, like some crop circles do. Come along here, and there's some more older graffiti here. It's interesting that the people put their little tags and things here. These are tags. They're like signatures of the graffiti artists, and they're very careful not to go over ones that already exist. Now if you go over here, there's some on the other side, on the other parapet. We have here what looks like some kind of, is that a can of drink? Energy drink? With wings, and there's some lovely little curls there, and hearts. Rest, happy birthday, someone says happy birthday. Oh, we have someone rowing a boat, that often happens. And you have the name, you have the bicycle here, which is, that's interesting. And you have a name, Hussein. I think that might be the same name in, is that Persian or Arabic? I'm not sure. But I know who that is. Hussein is the name of someone actually. I can't remember his surname. It's Hussein Jali or something like that. Now he was a student at Brasenose College, and he was a rower. He was a keen rower. Now you see lots of rowers. You just saw someone rowing a boat. Whenever you go walk along this river, you see loads of people rowing boats, especially students. Big thing here in Oxford, always has been. Part of the traditional sporting life of Oxford University. Hussein was a student at Brasenose College who was a keen rower. He actually rowed for Oxford, I think, in the Oxford-Cambridge boat race, and he died. He died at a very young age. I think he was only 21, and he had a heart attack. Apparently he had some kind of tumour on his heart, or something like that, like a cancerous thing, which there was no symptoms or anything. He was like a time bomb waiting to go off, basically. And poor young chap, he died very suddenly. And he was in the news and everything, so I know who Hussein is. But that's a little tribute there by the rowers on this old bridge here in Oxford. Okay, this bridge is the next bridge down on the River Isis or Thames. It's basically the southern bypass of Oxford goes over this. You can probably hear the traffic. And well, here we have some, I think it's actually not public art as such, probably not official approved public art. We have some very, very creative kind of graffiti here. As you can see here, it's very, you can see like the way the letters are constructed. You have this 3D effect. You get like these, it's almost like a crop circle up there. There's like a blip from an oscilloscope kind of thing. Another one there. And you see it's shaded correctly. You get that same symbol there, that crop circle symbol. And here we have, look at this. It's an eye and a mouth. You haven't got a clue, let's be honest. That's good. Unfortunately someone has drawn over that, which is a shame. But we go along here. There's some more here. You get some more on the other side. Now they must have climbed down from the bypass because there's no pathway that leads there. So a lot of these graffiti artists are very determined. They go from You see, you get the same symbol there. It looks like the same symbol. look like it's not been finished. It's like there's no colour in it, and so maybe they've just started it and I'll come back later. If I come back tomorrow, there might be colour there or something. But we have like, just a moment. This little doggy is being stubborn. Come on, come on. He's a stubborn little fella, this one, sometimes. Sweet dreams, babe. Oh, that's nice. I have this heart-shaped figure here with, I don't know about this. For my little princess. Oh. Acid fright. It looks like an acid trip, doesn't it? That's another example of really good good artwork rather than this usual thing. Like that Zuz, Z-U-Z, that appears everywhere. There's another one there. I've seen those all over Oxford. I think that's like a tag for various graffiti artists. They refer to certain people. It's kind of code that these artists actually use. And you know, I do say artists in the literal sense, because it's pretty clear they have talent. They're not. It is real. It is real, like painting, in a sense, like what you get in an art gallery. And it's not the same, obviously, as an oil painting, but it's still its own form of art. And I'm very impressed by it. Okay, I've come across some more graffiti stroke public art, and this time it's very important that I preserve it, because it is on a builder's hoarding, which means it's not going to be here forever. But we have here these. That's so interesting. Actually, it's amazing. Again, depth. Lun, L-U-N, and it says a delicious 13 MUF 2019. And we have, it looks like a raccoon, little creature now, and it's like a big pole, and these letters are impaled on it. Happy birthday. Oh. Come along here. We have now. This is the same image I saw on the bridge at the A34. Look, 2019. It's got a date like any other painting does. These tags are like the signatures, like I said. So we have the same kind of. Look at the water drops. Look at those water drops. These are real artists. There's some slightly more cruder figures here, and we have human figures here. Egg bun, and then we have. I don't know who's that. I don't know who he is. Looks like Sir Eric Gary, maybe a UFO guy from Grenada. But look, he's talking to a microphone, and there's is that a young boy there with a mobile phone? You often see kids these days. A lion. Do you remember my the video I made about? Oh look, Narnia. Yeah. Do you remember the video I made about the lion graffiti I saw before? Look, Narnia. There's the lamppost. There's the White Witch, the Queen, Jadis, and the mountains of Narnia. Oh wow, look. And the green field, the plashing glens of Narnia, and the lamppost to light the way. Wow. I'm so glad I'm here to film this. And there's a little bit more. I don't know what that is. Just some, looks like lettering. 2019 again. You see the kind of crop circle symbols. And Oxford and Budapest. Budapest, big city and capital of Hungary. And here we have a kingfisher. Oh, that nice. Oxford Graffiti Group Facebook. Oh, that lovely. That's an amazing picture. Step back a little bit and get a better look at it. That's an amazing image, that. These are like drops of blood. It's a rose, look, and it's like blood coming off it. There's a skull. Oh look, it's a skull with a rose and something tattooed. Yes. And here of course is the artist tools. Spray can. I think you see it better from further away. Amazing image. Oh, that's incredible. They put this up here knowing it's not going to be here long, because it's just builders' hoardings. So it's not like a alright. It's not like a gallery. That's look at that image there. A hand coming out of the shape, and there's a girl with like an old cassette. Anyone younger than me doesn't says, what's that? What's that? Well, can you imagine iTunes in a little cigarette packet? Okay, that's a cassette. It says KEP, K-E-P. I can't read these texts now. Oh wow, look at this. That's like a Stargate portal kind of thing. It's a bit of like a Baphomet though, isn't it? Let the owl blow. And there's the owl. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that incredible? I've never seen anything like that before. So look at the eyes. So well done. Look at the colours in the eyes. There's like a nighttime scene behind it. There's the old textbook there. Someone's been scrawling in the textbooks like the old rough book at school, isn't it? Look at the rings. It's ring bound. Go further along here, and there's a blonde girl. I'm sure someone will say that's racist. Look at the stars in her eyes there. It's one of them comments. Just wait some people to go past. There's like stars in her eyes. You see that? Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Oh right, Barbie girl. Yeah. And there's like the diamonds off her tiara coming off there. That's quite amazing, isn't it? She's got plaits in her hair. Going into a test tube. Oh, weird. Look, there's another portal there. Stars. Look at the depth on that. Isn't it quite amazing? That's an amazing face. That's the most amazing of the human figures I've seen. That really is. Look at that. That's incredibly well done. That's an incredible piece of work. I don't know what that is behind. Maybe a cityscape or something. I've never seen anything like that before. Once again, we have this recurring image: the teeth, the eyes, and this particular strange emblem. It's like a dark thing. It's like the colours haven't been finished, or maybe it's meant to be like that. Amor. Love, that means, in Latin, isn't it? Oh look, it's an alien! Haha! You have to get an alien. Do you remember that alien? Look, there's the flying saucer on the alien. You've got to have a good look at that. Look at that. Don't you much you can see of that. Wow, that's really good. Look, there's the crop circles in his eyes. Do you remember that alien I showed you in my Dr. Strangelove video? Then we have the letters O-A-E-K. You see it there again, O-E-A-K. O-E-A-K. If this sort of house survives, I wonder what archaeologists and anthropologists of the future will make of all this. Right, then we have Amor again. The word Amor. We have the heart-shaped emblem. It's like the cave paintings of old. Wow, that's amazing. This is all on Between Towns Road, Oxford, so come and see it as soon as you can. We're actually not far from the, do you remember the Temple Cowley? We're in Temple Cowley here. We're actually not far from the Knights Templar location. It's just up the road there. So this is Temple Cowley. This is like, it reminds me, looking at these here, reminds me of the cave paintings of the ancient world. I mean, have you ever read Supernatural by Graham Hancock? It reminds me very much of that. It's quite spectacular, and I'm really impressed by these amazing images. And obviously, like, it's a builder's hoarding, like I said. Chipboard. When the building's over, this will all be gone, but it won't be gone because it survives now on celluloid and on YouTube. And this is amazing. Now this is I want to say it's the old Silver Surfer there. This is actually the Atomic Dino on Cowley Road, Oxford, and they've put this signboard just been put up in front of it. I'll just show you it from sideways on so you can see it all. As you can see here, let's see, it's Atomic number 92 Cowley Road, and there's a TIE fighter, an X-Wing fighter, and there's Darth Vader with his spray can. Not his lightsaber, he's got like his paint spray can. Yay! It's come over. Isn't that brilliant? That's just excellent. So if you ever want a pizza, a burger, dog or a shake, come in and see the dark side. Now the thing about art, especially public art, is that it has an effect. The positive effect that you may have felt from looking at that
the graffiti that I showed you on the murals, has an effect to boost us up, to build us up, to make us happier, to make us more joyful, to make our life brighter, more exciting, more interesting, more colourful, to make our living spaces, our towns and cities, more attractive places. But for people who have a malevolent agenda to destroy those feelings in us, to make us feel demoralised, to make us feel broken, to make us feel sad, to make us feel despondent, and to make our living spaces less attractive, dull, frightening, weird, unsettling, then public art can also be used to achieve that if you're one of these people from the Illuminati or Deep State, or whatever you want to call them. And indeed we're seeing this. Now I recommend Brian Gerrish, because Brian Gerrish, who exposed Common Purpose, has done an awful lot of excellent exhibitions on really horrible public art, and this is one of them. This is this is actually at Frogner Park in Oslo, Norway, and it was sculpted by Gustav Vigeland, and it's actually called Man Chasing Four Geniuses. That's its title. But what you actually see here is looks like a metallic structure here. You see a man with babies, I suppose, little babies, little small babies, 6 months old perhaps, and he appears to have them, maybe some of them on his shoulders, and he's throwing them off. And there's one more on the ground which he's kicking. He's kicking it like this little baby, him or her, like it's a football. And you've got to ask yourself when you see that, like you go to a park for a stroll in the park to take the dog for a walk, and every single day you do that, and you see something like that, what effect is it having on you? If you saw it just once, you might think, oh God, what's that? But if it's in your local area, your home, and you saw that every day, you might think to yourself, well, what's going on here? And it may, eventually, it'll change the atmosphere of the place where you live. Now here's another example of what I mean. This is an exhibition in Prague in the Czech Republic, and it is also a steel metallic structure, and it's actually in a place called Tower Park in Prague, and that's by the Zizkov television tower. So there's a big tower standing over it, so it's quite a famous place. Excuse me. And it's written by it's created by a sculptor called David Ederney. And what you see is these babies. Now these are very, very large, oversized babies. Again, similar in age, like maybe 6 months or so, just starting to crawl, as the one you saw, the other one in Oslo. And you see here these crawling babies, which may look normal apart from their body until you get to their heads, because you see their faces have been replaced by this very strange structure here that looks to me like it's maybe the treads of a caterpillar track, like you see on a vehicle, like a tank or a bulldozer. There's no eyes, no nose, no mouth, no features on these babies, and it's just sort of like there. It's just there in the middle of this city. This fine, beautiful city with this ancient medieval townhouses and castles and things. Prague is famous for its architecture, and right in the middle of all this classic wonder, you get this. You get this really strange, weird thing, which just appeared there. I mean, these things, like the last one, that appears, I think it's in the 2000s, these first appeared. How and why? If people want to put this sort of thing in an art gallery, fine, but what's it doing in a public place where you have to look at it? You don't get a choice. You can choose whether you go into an art gallery or not. If something's in a public place, you have no choice. This, I think, is the worst example. Not only is it a grotesque image, but it's enormous. It's the largest of the structures I've shown to you so far. This is Verity. Now, Verity is well, how do you describe it? It is it's literally a stainless steel and bronze statue created by Damien Hirst, the famous man who creates sharks in tanks and other kinds of weird things, dead cows. He exhibits these things, he thinks they're art. This is 66 feet tall. It stands on the pier at the entrance to the harbour of Ilfracombe, which is in Devon. Now, it's on the north coast of Devon. Ilfracombe is a beautiful, classic, traditional seaside town, and this thing was put up there. It was just put up there in the middle of this most traditional, rural, rustic place, and it's again. I mean, people asked Damien Hirst, "What's it mean?" And he says, "Oh, it refers to truth. The name Verity comes from verite, from the Latin for truth." And he says it's a modern allegory of truth and justice. Well, I personally think he's just making that up. He's just the people just when artists or so-called artists like him get asked these kinds of questions, they just say whatever comes into the first thing comes into their head, because these objects are essentially meaningless. You're an artist. You can pretend they mean anything, and you just say they mean anything. And of course, if someone's going to pay you money for these things, and they're going to buy them, then you can just say whatever you can just say the first thing that comes into your head about what it means. Oh, excuse me. The famous Headington shark. I don't know if you know that. It's in Oxford. I don't need to I won't put a picture in. You can Google it. But it's like a shark sticking out of somebody's roof. The house belonged to a guy called Bill Heine, who's a local businessman here in Oxford. And they asked him what it was about. They said, "Well, what's a shark? What's this sculpture mean?" He says, "Oh, I'm protesting about the nuclear arms race." I remember, because I know this because my mum used to work at one of his cinemas. He used to run the Phoenix Cinema in Oxford. And well, you've got to ask yourself, did the reporter say, "Bill, what on earth has a shark sticking out of someone's roof got to do with the nuclear arms race?" And I've got to ask you what this means. This is a figure. It's like a feminine humanoid figure. It's a bit like the Statue of Liberty, actually. It's standing with its hand, one of its arms, its left arm is erect. The arm is holding a sword. But the thing about it is, this is clearly a woman. It's a woman who's pregnant. You can see the baby there. And the thing is, you can see the baby there because it's almost like it's been cut away. There's her skin and the flesh of part of her body has been cut away. You see their muscles, bones. You see the baby, like I said, and I think to myself, to me that's really disgusting. It's horrible. You see the skull in her head. It's for stuff. I mean, what's that got to do with modern truth and justice? What was he said? I can't even remember. And the local people are horrified by this. I mean, there's someone who lives in the town that Brian Gerrish talked about, and she's got a 3-year-old daughter who really used to love her. She loves the town she lives in, and she used to love exploring down by the docks. And she's scared to go there now. She calls this thing the scary baby lady. This little 3-year-old girl, and she's now frightened to go down to the docks in her own hometown because this thing, this 66-foot tall monstrosity, is there. I mean, why? What's it all in aid of? Of course, it has a purpose, doesn't it? It does have a purpose. And of course, we can't really talk about creepy public art without examining the strange case of the Denver airport murals and other things. Now, this is now I'm not going to go into a lot of the details of this, because if I go into too many details of this, I'll get dragged down into the area of UFOs and secret bases and all kinds of other things like that. The Phil Schneider stuff. I'm not going to go into that this evening. But I mean, leaving aside that issue, what we have here is some really, really disturbing imagery here. Really disturbing, frightening, upsetting imagery here. In this first picture, these murals were painted on the walls of Denver Airport. They were created when the airport opened in the 1990s by Leo Taguma, who's a Chinese, or sorry, Chicano artist. That's not. I think that's American Indian. But you see here, you have this horrible figure that looks like, I don't know, it's like a Nazi or something, with obviously holding an assault rifle in one hand and a scimitar in the other, with like some kind of gas mask over its face. It's like something from a nightmare. And you can see it's killing a bird. There's ruined buildings. There's people lying dead in rubble. There's what looks like, it looks awful. It looks like women crying. You see in the foreground on the left, you see a woman who's crying, and she appears to be holding a dead child. And you see other people looking over their shoulders and walking away on a road like they're refugees or something. And this is if you're going to get on a plane and you go there, you're looking forward to your flight, you're looking forward to your holiday, or seeing your relatives, and this appears in front of you in the departure lounge, what would you think? we have a more colourful image here, but it's no more cheerful. You see here some burning forests. You see animals in cages as if they're museum exhibits, like they're dead. You see looks like a dead turtle on the left. You see you see like a leopard or puma or something dead in the middle, and some children. There's a child. There's one of the most awful images. Look to the girl on the right with the red shirt and the blonde hair. You see a girl. She's crying. She's holding a dead squirrel. You see what looks like a bison, which is a cow-like creature, on the left. I don't know what that means. It's got like a red ring around it. But you see the faces of the people are all very distressed, and most disturbing of all, in the foreground you have 3 coffins containing dead people. You can see quite clearly that the corpse on the right is a dead girl. It looks like she's dressed in maybe traditional German clothing or something. Looks like a girl maybe from the mid 20th century. I mean, this is what's the point of this? What's it mean? What message are they trying to give out? And if it is a message, well, fine. Maybe the artist does want to say something, but does he have to say it in a place where air travellers come and go? They're not given the choice. They're not given the choice of what to say to see. They're not say, well, look, here's a modern art gallery full of really weird stuff, like in the Tate Modern. You can come in, or you don't have to come in. It's up to you. It's there in front of you in a public place. And of course, this is another very, very infamous piece of art. It's in the forecourt of Denver Airport, and it is a blue horse rearing up. Now, this horse is been called the Devil Horse. Apparently, one of the artists creating this died. Apparently, they were killed in a freak accident. It's very weird, as if there's some kind of curse associated with this thing. You can see the blue skin there. It has red like veins all over it, and demonic red eyes. This is what greets you when you pull up in your bus or taxi to go on your holiday. I mean, would you like that? Is this what you want? I mean, it's putting these revolting things in a public place, to me, is just unthinkable. And they're put in public places. They're often put in places where there's already a lot of aesthetic beauty, such as a park in a town, or a seaside town, or an airport of fine architecture. Of course, it's not just done just for the hell of it. You think to yourself, what can you do when you're planning permission to build a bloody double garage on your house? And these so-called artists, these shysters, these purveyors of meaningless tat, just come along and they just say, "Oh, can I put this up in the middle of your town?" Yeah, sure. Here's £1,000. I mean, they're not poor, these artists, are they? These people who create this stuff, and there's all sorts of other things, such as the bag of urine with the box of urine with the crucifix in, and there's the dirty bed. There's all these things. I mean, I could go into details about all kinds of meaningless art. At least those things are in our galleries. These are in public places. It's like it's done to have the opposite purpose as the murals that I showed you. It's designed to break you down. It's, as Andy Thomas said, everything is designed to break our spirits. It's a form of cultural Marxism. It is intended to demoralise us, to traumatise us, to undermine our moral standards, to break apart our social structures. That is why these objects are created and why they are put where they are. In the case of Denver Airport, I think there's more of a story to that as well, but I won't go into that today, like I said. But it's almost like these are almost like, in terms of spiritual energy, they're almost like 5G masts, just for spiritual and aesthetic things. They're objects of aesthetic vandalism. That's what they are. They're put there to destroy. They're put there to destroy us mentally, to break us down, to knock us into little pieces, so we can be built up again in a new form, a form that the authorities want us to be in, which is totally different to the one we're in now. That is it. That's why they do it. That is why I'm making this video to alert you to this and to show you that basically the graffiti, the actual graffiti that I showed you, the graffiti and the positive stuff, the objects of beauty, are so very important. Why they provide such a valuable service to us, even if we don't know it, even if it's just subconscious, it's there. Now, this is one of the most controversial pieces of public art the world has ever seen. I personally think it's excellent. This is what I would include in one of the positive elements. This is what I would include in what I would call the things I showed you in Oxford. Now, this is called Freedom for Humanity, and it's by an artist called Kaylin Ockerman, an American, better known as Mere One. This was painted on the wall in the heart of London's East End. It was painted in Brick Lane, which is like a cultural centre. It's like the Cowley Road of Oxford. Brick Lane is like a similar thing in the East End of London. What you see here is a row of 6 elderly suited men sitting around a table which is covered by a board game that resembles Monopoly. The table has no legs. Its top is supported on the backs of 4 naked, faceless, seated human figures, and they're bent over completely, like they are broken people. Behind them you see this pile of loose cogs from a machine, and in the background you see a pair of smoking factory chimneys next to 2 objects that are, I don't know what they are. They're either volcanoes or they're cooling towers from a power station. You can't really tell. There's a network of lines behind them that look to me like chemtrails in the sky. Now, on the left you see a man carrying a placard in his right hand. It says the New World Order is the enemy of humanity. His left hand is held aloft in a fist. On the right you see a sad, tired-looking mother holding a baby. And above it, the scene, you see a rising sun framing a pyramid with a detached capstone containing the Eye of Providence. This is magnificent, I think. It deserves to be ranked among the great examples of political graffiti across the world. Like those ingenious pieces you see in South America and Northern Ireland. It must have been a really striking experience if you walk down the street and you see it. And when I first heard about this, I thought I'll have to go there. I'll have to go there with my Hapanmo TV camera and record it while it's still there. But then I looked into the matter and I found out that it had actually been obliterated in 2012, just 3 weeks after it had been finished. The local borough council thought it was anti-Semitic. Oh, dearie me. I mean, I'm not going to repeat what I said. I mean, just look at my videos about David Icke, my recent one about him being banned from Australia. Look at my Jews video. I don't want to just repeat myself over and over again. I'm not going to repeat points I made in previous videos. But it was Luciana Berger, you know, the leader of CUC, the Change UK. Whatever they're called. What are they called now? They keep changing their bloody name. This new party of Blairite, ex-Labour people. I don't know. But anyway, there's no suggestion at all that there's anything in this image related to Jews. I mean, the only evidence that anyone has brought to light is that the antagonistic figures are Jews because they have Jewish features and it resembles Nazi iconography. I mean, that's very, very flimsy. I mean, the artist denied this. The man who's on whose wall the mural is painted, who gave permission for this to be done, is a restaurant manager. He's from Bangladesh, and he said that 2 of the figures look Indian. Now, the allegation is that the faces of the 6 evil men include generic Jewish features, but the faces to me are all different. I mean, 2 of them, well, they're all slightly different. The one on the far right, the 1/3 from the left, they look like old photographs of British colonial officials from the days of the Empire. The one on the far left has a full beard, which is like a bit unkempt and long. It looks more typically Russian. So where's anything here to do with Jews? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing at all. Yet this painting, this wonderful painting, which of course to me is obviously conspiratorial in nature. You see the chemtrails, you see the idea that there's a powerful elite ruling the world who have them like a monopoly board on which they treat the economy and the lives and of everything else on the planet, well, as a game where they just sit there and they play. And of course the Illuminati pyramid behind. There's nothing, absolutely nothing here in any way related to Jews. So this is another problem. You create something positive like this, and people see, either deliberately distort, or they unknowingly see something in it which they don't like. And then, of course, if someone wants to get rid of a positive piece of art, it's a perfect excuse, isn't it? Indeed, 3 weeks after this was created, it was whitewashed. This wonderful art that Mia One had obviously gone to a lot of effort to create was destroyed. All I can say is thank goodness there are plenty of photos of it. That's not ideal, but it's the best we can do. Maybe Mia could create it somewhere else. If I owned my own house, you could come and put it on the side of my home any day.
So, maybe you've got an idea now about why I'm so interested in this particular subject. These things I've covered, with the exception of the horrible ones I talked about, are works of beauty, they're works of creativity. They're fine, I think they're fine works of art. And art's very important. Art, music, literature, all the humanities are, I think, significant in the makeup of the human race and what it means to be human. We're one of the few animals on Earth that actually creates works of art. I mean, there are some, the elephants apparently paint pictures, and apparently some birds decorate their nests and things like that. But it's not common in the animal kingdom for organisms to actually do this kind of things. And humans are definitely the best at this, definitely. When it comes to society, the nature of society, the structure of it, the rulers and the ruled, it's not just a political entity, it is a psychological and cultural entity too. This means that it has elements of how we think and feel. Those who do and those who are done to, there's an element of thinking and feeling in all those things. For the people who want to control us for whatever reasons, for malevolent reasons, they need to know what makes us tick, and they need to know how to make us think and feel a certain way, and some of that is through the humanities. You may not think it's very significant, but walking down the street and seeing the things that I've just seen has an effect on you, on your mind, on your heart, on how you think and you feel, on everything. It has an effect, and that effect, when expanded to all of the society, can change the way we behave as a species, as individuals, as families, cultures, nations, and a planet. And for the Illuminati, who want a particular outcome, they want a particular kind of world. They're trying to build a new kind of world at the moment as we speak. Putting in certain works of art is very, very important. As Brian Gerrish has explained, I think he explains this. He talks a lot about certainly the very unpleasant and destructive public art that we see. And alternatively, those of us who are artists, writers, sculptors, musicians, who want to use that same methodology to do good, to increase the sense of freedom, to increase the sense of hope and self-esteem, instead of demoralisation, confusion and disgust. Those who want to do good, to boost humanity up to a new level, to a better level, a happier world. We also have an ability, and I believe a duty, to do so, to use our skills for that purpose. That's what I try to do, because I'm a writer, as you know. I have written some novels and some short stories. All of it's on Hapanmo, on the Ben's bookcase, hapanmo-bb.blogspot.co.uk. There's a link to that on the Hapanmo TV blog, to that particular website. Also, I've written, of course, the Roswell trilogy, which I think are my most important works, which it's centred around the UFO subject, but it tackles all the issues, really, or as many as I can, of the kind of things we're talking about here. And that's why I believe in the great exquisite nature of some of the things I've shown you today. I think does a lot of good, and I'm very glad it's there. And it's sad, I mean, certainly in the case of the Between Towns Road exhibition, It won't always be there, which is why I've sought to capture it. It's why I've done this several times here in Oxford. I captured the murals in a subway before it was destroyed, and that got into the papers, I remember. So I'm glad I made this video. I hope you'll find it interesting, but also it'll act as a kind of archive to preserve what otherwise would not have been preserved, which can do good, I believe. And it'll continue to do good long after those builders' hoardings are torn down. So thank you for watching Panwo TV once again. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order.